fascinated with spirituality and human growth and how we might be able to just master this thing that we've been given, this beautiful gift of life that we've been given. And so, as promised, I did a live stream, I think it was yesterday, and I was talking about a book that I'd received for my birthday by Karen Curry Parker called The Encyclopedia of Human Design. Karen is an amazing teacher of quantum human design, which is a derivative of human design, and it's Karen's special sauce. I've studied with Karen. I am studying with Karen. I'm a certified quantum human design practitioner, levels 1 and 2, and I'm currently training in level 3. And so some of the best ways I've found to learn things is to teach them. And so I am going to talk a little bit about some of the basics of a design chart. First of all, human design is an amazing tool. It gives us insights into our purpose, our path, kind of like what we came here to do as human beings. And it's comprised of 3 different schools of thought. One is astrology. It takes principles of astrology, parts of astrology, and that uses that to create the human design chart. And the second piece is the 𝐻𝐻, the Chinese 𝐻𝐻. It uses these 64 principles as a way to design our chart and our type and all the parts of our human design chart. And then it uses some of the principles of Kabbalah, which is the spiritual tradition of that Judaism was birthed out of. And so with these 3 schools of thought, it comes together along with some information about you or about us, and it creates this beautiful chart that lends us insights into, our personalities, insights into perhaps what we should be focused on in our life. And it even shares some information it might share clarity on our past, a little bit about, it might offer some clarity about some of the things that have occurred in our past. I know, at least for me, reading my chart and having my chart read, it really offered a lot of aha moments and clarification around, some of my ways of being all my life. And so yesterday, I shared with you all that you could get a free chart, and I'm going to put this up on a banner. I might have put this in the description. Hopefully I did. If I did not, I apologize, but you can get your own free chart. Don't have to pay for this. I'm going to put it on the screen here as soon as I can type it right. You can get your own free human design chart. If you just go to elevated.guru, it's not .com, it's just elevated.guru. And at the very top of the header, in the menu items, it'll say free elevated human design chart. You're gonna want to have your chart today, because what I'm going to be talking about today, this is going to be part 1 of a 4-part series where I'm talking about the different aspects of the human design chart. And the first aspect that we're going to talk about today is the human design type. Is your type. It's one of the big chunk pieces of the chart that actually, if you had a human design chart reading and you just got what you get from discovering what your type is, it would probably, blow your mind and, make you cry all at the same time. It gives you a lot of information just by knowing your type. And so I'm going to cover the type tonight. But if you don't have your chart, please go to the website right here. You can, in the menu, there is a menu item that says free human design chart. All you have to do is click on that and get your human design chart. Come on back to this video or watch it live and experience what I'm about to teach. So without further ado, I have a lot to cover, which I always do. Every time I prepare for a class, I always say that at every class. If anybody's ever been in one of my trainings before, I always say in the beginning of it, I'm noticing this as a pattern that I have a lot to cover and only a little bit of time. Well, I want to give you a really good sense of the type. So I do have a lot to cover tonight, and I don't want to stay on here forever with you because you have lives and whatnot. But tonight we're covering the types, and we're just going to go down the types. There are 5 types in the human design chart. 5 types. So I started out by saying that there is human design, which is the traditional human design, which was founded by or discovered by Ra. And you can look this up. Just Google human design. You can go through all the details of where human design originated. And then there is quantum human design. And human design emerged out of human design. Karen Curry Parker is the founder of quantum human design, and she studied with Ra, who discovered it for the first time. And she has redefined some of the characteristics of the chart in a way that lends itself to human evolution, in the sense that when human design first originated, it was written in a way to kind of shock and awaken people to like their divinity and their beauty and who they are. So it was written in a very sometimes harsh and crass and very confronting sort of way. And so Karen decided that she loved the concept of human design, but she wanted to elevate it in a way that it encompasses where we are today. And since we have evolved so much in our thinking about who we are in this universe and our power as spiritual beings and enlightened beings, she shifted some of the names. So tonight I'm going to talk about it from the lens of both standard traditional human design and quantum human design. So there'll be 2 names for certain things, but both of them, they're lockstep in what they're teaching. They just say it differently. So so that being said, let's get into it. The first human, like I was saying, the type is it's your overarching it's the overarching type that kind of is the house for everything else that the design chart reveals about you, right? So your type, consider in parallel, your type would be like your sun sign, your like the way in just astrology you would think of, oh, I'm a Taurus. So inside of being a Taurus, there are many different aspects to me, right? There my sun, there's my moon, there's Saturn, there's all these different aspects under which I was born. But we really kind of only look at the sun sign. Not saying that the type in human design and sun signs are the same. They are not. I'm just giving context for a way to look at it. So it is the first essential piece of the chart. Whenever doing a reading, that's the first thing you're going to hear is about your type. So if you have your human design chart, you should go ahead and pull it out, and let's take a look. So I'm going to talk about the first aspect, the first type that comes up in traditional human design. It is called a manifester, and in quantum human design, it's called an initiator. Slightly different, but they really mean the same thing. So I'm going to give some information, and I made notes, so I want to be as clear and concise as I can for my initiators and initiator manifestors. So the way I'm going to break this down tonight, just for you all, is I'm going to tell you some characteristics about the type, and then I'm going to tell you some challenges that maybe that type faces, that may be common for the type that I'm talking about. And then I'm going to give some tips for manifestation. So, since the topic tonight is about how to take your human design chart and amplify your manifestation, I would be remiss if I didn't give you tips about manifestation. So the first thing is, if you have your chart, you would look for your type, and if your type is an initiator or manifester, depends on where you get your chart. If you get it from my website, it'll have the quantum human design language on it, most likely, and so you'll see um, as the type manifester initiator. So let's talk about the manifester initiator and some of the characteristics of a manifestor or initiator is they have this divine connection to source. Like they have this innate connection to nonverbal communication with source, as um, it's like a knowingness, I would say, with the creator. And so the beautiful thing about initiators is that um, they don't require looking elsewhere for knowledge around what they should be doing. Their their input comes directly from source. Like they can get it in a very nonverbal way. One of the things that um, they have a natural ability to set things in motion, and I suspect that's why Karen calls them initiators, is that they have this ability to to spark change and to spark new beginnings, right? It's part of their job. It's part of, how they're designed. They're extremely independent. They can be independent. They're very much a self-starter. Um, and they oftentimes value their autonomy. And the interesting thing about them valuing their autonomy is that they actually need other people as well, right? So even though they get the party started, they initiate things. They get divine inspiration and then take action, initiate that action. They don't actually finish them. They don't actually do the work of those things. So they actually they work autonomously, and I think the reason why they enjoy working autonomously is because of that direct connection with divine intuition or with source. It's like they work in this realm where they have nonverbal communication with the greater creator, and they don't want interruption with that. And so when interruption occurs, when they are interrupted, it actually breaks that communication, and so it's very difficult, even sometimes impossible, for them to get back into that same groove. So I suspect the autonomy is due to not wanting to be interrupted in a way, especially when they're in um, a creative direct connect with source. So um, they can have significant impact on their surroundings and the people around them, due to this energy that they have to kind of like jumpstart. I think of them as kind of like the jump starters. Like they kind of get things moving. It's about taking the first step. Like what they that's the I think that's the duty that they came here to fulfill upon, came to the world, to earth to fulfill upon, is to get the party started. They're highly creative. They possess a strong creative force um, that drives them to manifest their ideas and visions in reality. And basically, it's like they take source what source desires and make it manifest. They take it and bring it into manifestation. So uh initiators, manifestors, are pretty powerful and very, very useful. And the strategy they should always incorporate is to inform others of their intentions, which happens, there's a couple of the types that need to inform others of their intentions so that they don't experience the resistance of having friction or having interruption. Initiators do not like interruption because, as I said before, that interrupts their creative flow with the creator. Some of the challenges is resistance. Some of the challenges that initiators can face is resistance from others if they don't communicate their intentions. Like if they don't share with others what their intentions are, they can receive resistance. They also are challenged with energy management. Now, I said before they're like jump starters, just like a jumper cable. It like jump starts a battery, right? Or like if you take paddles like crash pads, they jump start a body, and then that crash pad has to be recharged. Well, an initiator is like that. They can jumpstart the party, but they're not there to sustain it. They have to be recharged, right? It's like they get the party started, and the next type that we talk about is going to be the people who carry the party forward to get it done. But their job is to be the crash pad of the party, take source's idea and make it manifest, jumpstart the party. Now, I'm not saying this to say that if you're another type, you're not a manifester. Everybody manifests. It's just that initiators are manifestors. They have a special way in which they manifest that is a direct connection to source itself. So I hope this is helpful. I'm not even looking at chat or anything like that, but I'm gonna just keep going. So um, powerful energy in their space, like other big energies, can you know can have a unintended like emotional effect. They can have an effect on others, basically. I'm sorry. So their energy is so powerful and big that they can have an effect, especially on people like reflectors and projectors. We'll talk more about that. Another challenge is that they can be impatient. um, they can experience impatience um, when progress is slow, and it leads them to be frustrated, like just frustrated with the fact that there's not movement. They can't always get it to move past the initiation phase, just like the crash pads, right? It's like jump start, and then crash passes are off to be recharged, but the person that the crash pads were working on, their organs are designed to take over and do the work. Well, like that, if the organs don't do the work, or if the people there to do the work don't get the work and keep the progress going, initiators can get impatient by that. They can develop impatience around not seeing progress, not seeing movement, and it can often be frustrating. Their go-to emotion when they are not in alignment. um, I like to think of it as being in alignment. So if you're a manifester initiator, and you are in alignment with the characteristics that will produce, your path, having your path unfold, you're in alignment with what you're here to do, you're actually manifesting things in your life. When you're in alignment, I call that being in alignment. When you're out of alignment, I call it, I call it out of alignment. But when you're out of alignment, it means that you're facing the resistance I just talked about, feeling impatient, being frustrated, um, not informing others of your plans, and causing miscommunications and whatnot. And so, um, it's either in alignment. Every type will have characteristics to keep them in alignment and characteristics that will take us out of alignment. And when we're out of alignment, a clear indication of that for a manifester slash initiator is the feeling of frustration. It is the emotion that they feel when they are off or out of alignment. And so here are some manifestation techniques that I have here. I'm reading these, guys, because I didn't memorize them, but I am reading them. So the first one is clarity. Develop a clear understanding of your desires, goals, and intentions, ensuring that they align with your values and passions. Having that clarity um, for initiators is important, and that clarity comes from a direct co-creation with source, that direct communication to create and bring source's idea into manifestation. That's where that clarity gets created. Actually, I'm going to put these up on the screen so folks can see them. Let me see. So some of the things that, as soon as I find it, I just want to put these up so you can see these. Here we go. Okay, so before I move on to, let me just say these are 5 words that manifester slash initiators that kind of define, that sum up their characteristics. They are initiators. Number 1, they get the party started, crash pads. They're independent, impactful, creative, and catalysts. Some of the things that are their challenges is resistance, being misunderstood, feeling impatient, isolated, and burnout. Like I said, just like crash pads, they have to be recharged. And so you want to make sure that if you are a manifester or an initiator, that you recharge your batteries. So these are some of the challenges to look out for. So some of the manifestation tips that I want to point out are clarity. Number 1, what I just mentioned before, clarity, making sure that everything is in alignment. Informing in a way that you share with others what you're up to. You inform others when you need space, so that you can have that communication with source and have it be uninterrupted. Timing, like making sure that what you're doing, what you're initiating is in divine timing, in right timing. Confidence, and visualization. So visualization is powerful for manifestors. And the reason why confidence and visualization is powerful for this type is, well, number 1, it's having the confidence that your communication and co-creation that happens in your divine inspiration is in fact what you should be doing, what your path is. Having the confidence in that, it's like certainty. The visualization process, any visualization, there's a great one by Michael Beckwith called Life Visioning Process. There's hundreds of them on the internet you can do. I created one called the Elevated Vision Plan. There's tons of visualization processes that will open up parts of your mind to be able to directly connect with the energy of that divine inspiration or divine exchange that manifestors have and can connect with easily. And so you want put that practice in place to vision weekly or vision every day if you can, right? So that you maintain space and time where you set aside to connect with source. Now, is that to say that the divine idea is going to come at that time? No, but keeping yourself in or entertaining visualization might invite divine inspiration. So those are some of the manifestation tips for manifestors and initiators. All right. Okay, so I want to check in now. The next type that I want to talk about is generators. I'm talking about generators now. Let me just find my notes on generators. I live with a generator. So I kind of know a lot about generators because I do live with a generator, and I am half generator, probably more than half generator. But so generators are, if you remember what I said about the initiators, uh, generators are called in human design, they're called generators. In quantum human design, they are called alchemists, which I think that's a pretty cool name. I love the name that they have in quantum human design. As being an alchemist is pretty, it's just dope to me. So alchemists or generators are the people designed to carry out the things that the initiator got as divine inspiration. So generators slash alchemists they have boundless energy. Like their energy is nonstop. They're highly productive, massive life source energy, like a constant supply, allowing them to engage in activities and work for extended periods of time. These are the generators. That's why the initiators, like we talked about before, they don't have that sort of life source energy. They're like the crash pads. They have to go recharge. The generator, uh, however, or alchemist, is like the energizer bunny. So it's like the bunny that just keeps going, 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 going. They're like the energizer bunny. So if their role here is to be that, they carry a very abundant life force energy. And another one of their characteristics that makes them so amazing is that they're responsive. They're designed to respond to their environment and external stimuli. Now, that could be a little bit of a challenge too, but I'm showing this in its positive light. Alchemists are responsive, they're persistent, they are committed. When they commit to something, when you have a generator that commits to something, it is a great thing. They're passionate about it and they commit to it. Um, they're satisfied and they are productive. Like when they are productive, they are happy. When they are moving, working, generating, creating, they are happy. They seek satisfaction through through meaningful work, right? Like activities that align with their passion or their interest is what lights them up. And when they gain mastery, it's a whole nother ballgame. Their generators have the potential to excel in their chosen field or passion by dedicating themselves to perfecting their skills and abilities, right? So they have the energy to do that, and it's a really special gift. That's why they're called alchemists. Some of the challenges that alchemists face, let's take a look and put those up. So some of their challenges are frustration. That is actually their go-to emotion, is frustration as well. um Overcommitment, because they're like the energizer bunny. They tend to think that they can just keep going and going and going, and even though they have tremendous life force energy, um it doesn't mean that the body temple doesn't need rest, or that you shouldn't take induce be care for your body or care for yourself and get rest and take vacation, right? Everybody needs to recharge at some point. Their stamina and endurance is just maybe a little longer than others, but at some point you should. So they have a challenge with overcommitting themselves because they think they can do it all, and they probably can, but at what cost? And they too also have impatience, and can be in misalignment and eventually run themselves to exhaustion. Like that overcommitment can cause them to drive themselves to exhaustion. And so it's, they could face burnout. And in that burnout, they lose the ability to tap into their authority, which is what we'll talk about next week. Um, so that's the challenges for the alchemist. The manifestation tips for alchemists: self-awareness, responsiveness. Like um, alchemists can get in their own like zone. So first of all, having self-awareness, they need to develop a deep understanding of their own mission, purpose, passion, interests, their natural talents, and then use their energy, um, use their energy as a way to fuel those passions, right? Um, the other manifestation tip I will say, I don't think I put it on this list, but is their need to wait to respond. And we'll talk more about this in authority, but practicing patience and waiting to respond for the right opportunities or sign of some sort of stimuli that gives them the go ahead to take action, or to jump into projects is essential. It's not like the manifestor initiator where they have a direct communication with source and they can internally know when it's time to take action on a project. The alchemists need an external stimuli. They need to have some sort of recognition, um, uh, from an external source that lets them know it's time to move or it's time to take action. Align their intentions and actions with their interests. Make sure that they're fully aligned and to follow their gut. You ever hear that? Follow your gut. And when we talk about um, authority next week, we'll talk about the sacral energy, which is their for alchemists. They need to follow that energy that they feel in their gut when their sacral energy is lit up and working. That is their guiding force. And energy management, managing their energy, even though they have life source energy, and having a supportive network of people is important. And sticking with something. So persistence is a manifestation tip for uh, generators or alchemists. Persistence, because they'll often give up too quickly. They will often get bored at something and give up just before success, right? They don't see the result that they're looking for. They'll often give up pretty quickly. All right, so moving on to our next type. I hope this is helpful. Hope you all are getting something out of this. I'm having a good time doing it. The next type I have on the agenda is the manifesting generator, which is very near and dear to my heart. The manifesting generator, or in quantum human design, is called the time bender. And the reason why the manifesting generator is special to me is because guess what? I'm a manifesting generator, yo. Um, yeah, I'm a manifesting generator. I'm a time bender. I kind of like our quantum name too. Time bender is pretty dope. Um, so some of the qualities that are great about manifesting generators is that we're designed to multitask. Now, I know there's a whole school of thought out there that says, oh, you shouldn't multitask. You actually don't get anything done. It's not good to multitask. That's for people who are either initiators, generators, projectors, or reflectors. Like, that does not apply to manifesting generators. We absolutely have dual energy. We have the ability to we take some of the characteristics from the initiator and some of the characteristics from the generator, or some from the initiator and alchemist, and it makes us, right? And that dual energy gives us a lot of ability to manage multiple things. It also gives us a little bit of insight into both sides of the coin. Um, we also have to wait for responsiveness. So, like generators, we're considered mainly generators, but like generators, time benders, manifesting generators have to wait for a response um, from the outside to get connected so that we know we should take action. We're actually the ones that get it done. Um, like generators, we're able to work, we have strong life source energy. Our energy comes from our sacral, um, and we're skilled at multitasking. Um, I think manifesting generators seek satisfaction through meaningful work and activities, as well as peace, um, from successfully initiating and manifesting. Like, so there's peace that we gain in the initiator side of us, and manifesting our vision. So it's important that we embrace both. I think most people describe um, time benders or manifesting generators as more generator than initiator. Um, I think my own personal experience is I feel like this pull to both sides. So, like, maybe I have, I feel the initiator side, and I also can feel some of the characteristics of the generator as well. So, some of the challenges, so we're not without challenge, trust. So, some of the challenges faced that manifesting generators or time benders face is restlessness, yeah, overwhelm, incompleteness, impatient, and misdirection. Very similar to the generator, right? Restlessness is our thing, like our energy. We have so much energy that if we don't let it all out, we don't utilize it, it has to spend somewhere. And so that's where that restlessness can come in. Overwhelm, just taking too many things on. Everybody needs rest, and consequently, I believe manifesting generators will simply just not complete not complete something. And um it's part of who we are, right? That not every project we start is supposed to be completed. That's just part of what we do. We initiate something or start something, and then it's like, nope, got to change direction. There's also a lot of impatience there. I've personally experienced it, and just maybe not floating in the right direction. So these are some things that you should look out for. They're like pitfalls, right? Not necessarily saying that you should change them if you have them, just saying that be aware that they're there. And don't beat yourself up if you're a manifesting generator time bender and you have a lot of projects that are incomplete. It's fine. Maybe they're not meant to be completed. Maybe there's a lesson in that project that you were supposed to get, or an experience that you were supposed to get, that plays a bigger role in something else that you're really meant to do. So this is something that I had to learn for myself as a manifesting generator. Um, some some manifestation tips for manifesting generators and time benders are prioritization. Prioritize your time so that you don't get distracted. Patience, visualization, kind of like the initiator. Visualize. alignment with your guts, because sacral kind of is sacral is the ruling um, channel with your divine path. And so you want to keep the sacral energy open and available and trusting. You have to be able to trust it. All right, we're moving right along. We're almost done. So moving right along, the next type is a projector. Projector in traditional human design, orchestrator in quantum human design. So orchestrators are observant, um, they're insightful, they're strategic, they're highly intuitive. Um, and I meant to share some like famous people in all of these types, but I completely ran out of time, so I didn't get that for you all. Maybe I'll post something up with some famous people who happen to fit some of these types. Let me find my notes on projectors. So projectors, projectors excel at guiding and managing and directing others. That's kind of like their thing, like utilizing their ability to understand people and systems, like being able to understand systems, understand people, and then guide those people. They need recognition, and that's not they have a natural need to for recognition and acknowledgement, and um, they thrive when they receive recognition and acknowledgement, and that's not a bad thing. That's not like, like I just want recognition for uh to be conceited about it because I want people to adore me. No, it's not that. It's a mechanism. For projectors need that as a mechanism for kind of like a check-in, like just like a feedback loop that gives them data that they can use, that they're so that they know they're on the right track. Um, Projectors have a more limited energy supply, so they're not like the Energizer Bunny, and they're not like the Crash Pads. They don't even have that. They don't have that part. Their energy is very it's it's just at a lower voltage, right? So let's say, if we are at high voltage, medium voltage, low voltage, there's still energy there. It's just at a lower voltage. Um, so they don't have a strong life force energy like the manifesting generators and the generators. Um, they definitely need rest. It's not always great for a projector to work in a traditional way of working. Projectors, their contribution to the world is made in their ability to connect and understand people. And so, as a society, we haven't always embraced that. And I think now more and more we're seeing healers and uh, come forward, and healers who are having great success in their way of working, and it's not in a traditional way of working. And so it's just important to acknowledge that projectors have probably, felt in our society like their worth wasn't appreciated, but they're really quite um essential, right? They show up as an intricate part of society. Their job is to guide us, um, and manage and kind of direct us on our path. And so um, they hold a very special place, and I don't think we've always celebrated them the way that they should be. They possess an inherent talent of observing situations and people, identifying patterns and underlying dynamics. I mean, that's pretty powerful if you think about it. Like, they can observe others and they can identify um, things that we may not necessarily even acknowledge or see, but they have the ability to identify these things. And the key about projectors is they have to wait to be invited. Um, because projectors need the acknowledgement and recognition, they also need to be invited. So we want when a projector wants to do something, it doesn't always feel right for them to jump in and join the crowd. The crowd has to kind of invite them in, and their strategy is to wait for that invitation and then share their wisdom when they're invited. So sometimes when their wisdom gets shared and it's um, not been invited, or not been or permission hasn't been given, then projectors can often feel dejected or feel as if people can't see their worthiness or see their contribution or even acknowledge their contribution, right? Because we go back to they need the acknowledgement and recognition. That acknowledgement and recognition is their feedback loop. And I just want to go back to that because I think as a society we don't acknowledge people enough. We wait to people kind of shuffle off the mortal coil to give them flowers, if you will. And I think projectors really need us to acknowledge their contribution to the world, to our life. And um, it's in the acknowledgement, in the permission that we give them, and the invitation that we give them, that then they can shine. It's like their wisdom graces and blesses us all when we open up and invite them to. Some of the challenges, let me just post the challenges up here. In the process of waiting for an invitation, the projector would just observe. They're observing, 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 observing. And then when they get an invitation to share, then they drop all these nuggets like that they've been they've been assimilating all this time, and it's like boom, the world opens up. So it's pretty magical. um Challenges is overexertion. Like I said, projectors are not designed to hold a 9 to 5 like a traditional type of work. They're more in alignment with shamans and midwives and healers. They're more in alignment with kind of creating a path of work that works for them, and that doesn't always look like what society projects as successful. However, projectors get to make the choice. They get to choose, and they have to choose that path because overexertion is a real thing for them. They can get really like burned out, tired, and if they don't get recognized, that non-recognition, burnout, impatience happens, and just overall misalignment. It's like it can be detrimental. It's like it really I never say a person's light gets dim, but I think I always say, like we put a wet blanket over the light so that the light is not really shining brightly. It's kind of filtered. And so we never want to do that to projectors. You want to really edify them and recognize them for their contribution. And projectors, you don't want to overexert yourself. Don't think you could be the Energizer Bunny or the Crash Pad. You come in at your own pace, your own speed. You dance to your own drum. Manifestation tips for projectors: patience, guidance, self-care, communication. Patience, being patient, um, guidance, look for the guidance that you need, the recognition, right? Make sure you take care of yourself, take naps, take breaks, step away from things. Make sure you take care of yourself. And uh, projectors need communication. They need to be able to communicate their thoughts and feelings and ideas, and find your tribe where you can do that and feel heard, seen, welcomed, loved, acknowledged. That's all essential to your self care. The last type is reflector. So um, reflectors in traditional human design and quantum human design, they're called calibrators. And some pretty amazing people are reflectors. I don't want to say this, but I think the Obamas are reflectors. If I'm not sure, I think they're reflectors. Anyway, reflectors are a unique type, and um, they possess deep wisdom, uh, deep sensitivity, and they have value. They have valuable insights, and so some of the key characteristics. Let me put them up. Um, they're adaptive, as you said. They reflectors naturally mirror the energy of their surroundings and the people they interact with, making them highly sensitive to the environment. Um, they also have open centers, and we'll talk about that, I think, week 3 or 4. Their centers are open, so reflectors have this ability to, they kind of show up as the reflection of the world, basically. And I already said they have deep wisdom, so they have this innate ability to understand and provide insights um, in a way that moves people, that moves community, moves um, environment, right? And they can be objective and neutral in their observations, making them really trusted like advisors and mediators. The one thing about the reflector too that I want to highlight is they work on a lunar cycle. So their decision making process could take 28 days, which is the lunar cycle. They actually, for them to gain clarity. So if you are a reflector or you're in a partnership with a reflector, you just want to be patient. It usually takes them to go through the lunar cycle before they make any like life altering or big decisions. They need that time for clarity, um, to make informed choices. So you just want to be patient. 28 days. Where some of the other types can make, they're waiting for signals or getting divine inspiration. The reflector is time. It's the lunar calendar, which is 28 days. And oftentimes they'll mull it over, they'll think about it, they'll reflect on it, and then eventually, boom, an answer comes to them. And so you just got to be patient. If you are a reflector, be patient with yourself. If you're in a partnership or you have a child or someone close to you is a reflector and you need answers from them, grant them grace, grant them patience. All right. Some of the challenges for reflectors: overstimulation. Reflectors, uh, they're vulnerable, and they can be, I kind of think of them like the those little wind things that are outside of like stores and stuff that blow in the wind. They're like those wind dummies. They kind of, not wind dummies. They're not dummies. Trust me, they're not. They're essential to our world. But if you saw the movie Nope, in the movie Nope, there's a whole bunch of those wind clowns or dummies, I think they call them. And I think of reflectors like that. So when a reflector is so open that they can be swayed from one way to the next. And so it's important that reflectors, um, protect themselves, uh, that their tribe, their inner circle be people that they can trust because they are highly sensitive, right? And their decision making process can be influenced. And so they may find it oftentimes challenged with discovering their own true desires and identities because they're so easily adaptive to what's around them because they're so connected to it. And so it's just establishing these boundaries and being able to have a tribe that is your inner circle as a reflector that you can trust and depend on, and try to maintain your own neutrality to really decide and choose your own path rather than just be floating between different paths. um, some of the manifestation tips for reflectors. uh, so here's a couple. So environment, prioritize getting a supportive nurturing environment. That means your tribe, maybe do energy healing balancing, excuse me. Utilize the 28-day lunar cycle to make your decisions. Give yourself the time to process your information. Excuse me. Give yourself time and be patient with yourself, and um, work on those boundaries of not allowing external forces or people to push you in one direction or the next without giving yourself the time to make a decision or a choice. Self awareness, developing a strong understanding of your unique sensitivities and your strengths. Um, Support networks are huge for reflectors. Having people in your corner that you can bounce ideas off of, that you can trust, that are really there for you. And self care is a priority because, like the Energizer Bunny, you don't have that big life force energy, you have a lower voltage. And so, with a lower voltage, you want to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, that you're really getting the rest that you need. That's the best way for you to keep yourself healthy and safe. And um, patience. Be patient with yourself and accept yourself. Like, be cool with the fact that you make choices when you make choices, you make your decisions when you make your decisions without being pushed in one direction or another. So, I was going to take a sip. Mm, that was pretty long. I got through it in an hour. We did all 5 types, starting with um, the generator, I'm sorry, manifester, initiator, which is our first one. If you are just tuning in, we're talking about human design types and manifestation, some of the challenges of each type, some of the benefits and positives of each type, and some tips for manifestation for each type. What I want to do is leave you with a couple of reflective questions. So, if you did not get your um, your human design chart and you'd like to, all you have to do is go to the website that you see right on your screen, elevated.guru, elevated.guru. In the top menu, you'll see something that says free elevated human design chart. You can download your human design chart, go back to the beginning of this video, find out where you are on the chart. Are you an initiator manifester? Are you a alchemist generator? Are you a time bending manifesting generator? Are you an orchestrator projector? Or are you a calibrator calibrator reflector? Which design type are you? You can find that out by going to elevated.guru to get your free elevated human design chart. You don't even have to give us an email. You just go get your free design chart and you're good. You're good to go. So now I want to leave you with a couple of things before I go. First of all, thank you for being here. Second of all, I want to leave you with some contemplation questions by type. So, if you are a manifester initiator, there's some things that, in order to amplify your manifestation game. Here's a manifestation question you should ask yourself. How can I effectively communicate my intentions and visions to others while maintaining my creative autonomy? And if you remember, I talked about earlier with the initiators that you need that creative autonomy because it's not really autonomy. You're creating with source. And so the last thing you want is this external input to interject into your creation process with source. So it's a great reflective question on informing others and how can you share what is ready to be shared with others while you still maintain that connection with source. So for the generator alchemist, here's a great reflective question for you. What truly energizes and excites me? And how can I align my actions and decisions with these passions for greater satisfaction? How can you find satisfaction in what you do? Meaningful work. Remember, you look for meaningful work. It's a great question to just reflect on and make sure that what you're doing fits into this. Are you satisfied with it? Do you enjoy it? Do you feel like it's meaningful? And my time benders, manifesting generators, that's me. Um, how can I strike the balance between my multitasking abilities and the need for focused, intentional action to manifest my desires more efficiently? Manifesting generators are the kings and queens of sexy, shiny squirrel syndrome. So, how can you take those amazing abilities to multitask and utilize that energy to push your dreams and desires forward and thereby amplifying your manifestations? Projectors and orchestrators. How can I better recognize and embrace my unique insights and abilities to guide others, leading to increased opportunities for mutual growth and success? It's a great place to stand as a projector. Like, how can you lead others more? How can you step into your leadership ability and uniquely manage and share those skills, gifts, and talents with others in a way that benefits us all? Great reflection question there. All right, for my reflectors, calibrator, how can I harness the wisdom and adaptability my how can I harness the wisdom and adaptability gained from my reflective nature to create an environment that supports the manifestation of my highest potential? Woo! Because you're receiving so much, you're able to reflect back so much. How can you shape that in a way that makes a difference in your world, the world of others, what you're up to, what you're passionate about? How can you do that? Take some time, everybody, to reflect on these questions. You'll be surprised what emerges as a result of the reflection question. So I encourage you all to take some time and reflect on those. Without further ado, this is our completion. I want to thank you all for being here tonight. And if you watch this in the replay, I appreciate you. If you put posts in the comments, let me know what you think of this. Next week, I'll be coming back with part two, where we'll talk a little bit about authority and how to look at the authority on your chart. And we're going to go through the authority. We're going to go through the actual profile, and we're going to actually get to the centers and gates. So this is a continued relationship here. Hopefully you'll come back and go with me on the ride. I appreciate you all. Have a great night, and if you have questions, post them in the comments. I'll definitely come back and answer your questions. Have a good night, everybody.